This is the secret science behind Master Chief's armor. Welcome to Behind the Fandom, the show where we separate science from fiction and put the fan back in fantasy. I'm Maud Garrett, and today we're going to look at one of the most iconic characters in video game history, Halo's Master Chief. One of the biggest reasons Master Chief stands the test of time is his imposing green armor, which not only gives him superhuman abilities, but is inspiring real-world innovations too. Today's episode is brought to you by the Real Cost. Metal is great for all sorts of things, protecting us from deadly blows, crafting weapons of untold power, and adding a brutal ambience to a dark fantasy setting. It isn't great inside of your lungs though, which is where it can wind up if you vape. So leave the metal for slaying dragons. Your lungs will thank you the next time you find yourself in a boss fight. Before he was known as Master Chief, he was known as John 117, one of 74 other children who were kidnapped by Dr. Catherine Halsey and her cronies to be conscripted into the Spartan 2 program so they could become the protectors of Earth and all her colonies. And in case you don't remember what went down on Reach, the Spartan 2 program was a profoundly unethical initiative to bioengineer elite soldiers who would then be outfitted with advanced exoskeleton technology to harness their true potential. At the age of 14, John's body was changing, but not like in a normal teenaged way. He underwent intense invasive procedures to augment his body with near superhuman reflexes, strength, and eyesight. However, in order to protect their experiments, Dr. Halsey developed the iconic Mjolnir-powered assault armor. This high-tech exoskeleton system is designed to take full advantage of a Spartan 2's physical capabilities. With an outer shell of overlapping multi-layer alloys, this powered exoskeleton is resistant to electromagnetic pulses and radiation, and can filter out both bacteria and other toxins from the atmosphere. A gel layer in between the outer shell of the armor and an interior black armored bodysuit helps to regulate temperature. It communicates with the neural interface that all Spartan 2s are outfitted with, which lets them command the armor's movement, weapons, and other onboard sensors simply by thinking about it. Each suit of armor costs roughly as much as a small starship and can weigh up to 1,000 pounds when fully kitted out. They're also incredibly resilient, allowing Master Chief to survive a low-orbit re-entry after leaping off a Forerunner dreadnought during the Second Battle of Earth. Master Chief fell 2 kilometers to the planet's surface and was knocked unconscious, incurring a dent on his armor's breastplate. But otherwise, he was no worse for wear, which really goes to show just how tough this armor is. Halo's Mjolnir armor builds on a proud tradition of militarized exosuits in science fiction. One of the biggest influences on the trope of space marines wearing power armor, performing orbital drops, and fighting massive alien monsters is Robert A. Heinlein's 1959 novel, Starship Troopers, to which there are numerous references throughout the Halo series. Another major influence on the idea of powered armor in pop culture is Iron Man, who first appeared in 1963, but began a new path to pop culture dominance with the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2008. There's also a real-world tradition of attempting to create powered suits of armor to make life easier and allow humans to do the impossible. In the 1970s, General Electric developed the Hardy Man, which should instantly remind you of the power loader from Aliens. This joint Army-Navy project augmented human strength so that users could lift between 750 and 1,500 pounds, depending on which reports you believe. While it lacked the neural interface of Spartan commandos, it did have a force feedback mechanism to help the user feel what it touched. Unfortunately, due to the fact that it weighed nearly 750 pounds, could only move 2 miles per hour, and was prone to bugs, including what was described as violent and uncontrollable motion by the machine when both legs were activated, meant that this wasn't quite ready to help us take on the Covenant in real life. The first fully working medical exoskeleton was built in 1972 by researchers at the Mihailo Pupin Institute at the University of Belgrade in Serbia. This pneumatically powered device laid the groundwork for a wide array of advances in humanoid robotics and exoskeletons designed for the purpose of rehabilitating disabled and paralyzed persons. To get a sense of how far the technology has come, in 2014, a partially paralyzed man was able to kick a soccer ball at the FIFA World Cup in Brazil through the use of a powered exosuit. As with any technological advance, and much like in Halo, the military has been trying to make exosuits of their own for years now. While we haven't achieved Mjolnir status in real life just yet, multiple contractors are working on suits of armor that could one day become what real-world Master Chief wears. SOCOM, aka the United States Special Operations Command, were working on the Talos, the Tactical Assault Light Operator suit, which was nicknamed the Iron Man, but actually bore more of a striking resemblance to Master Chief's Mjolnir armor. While that project was ultimately discontinued, it yielded a variety of other advances, like lightweight polyethylene armor, a thermal management suit, and enhanced operational stress monitoring capability, just to name a few. So it sounds like they have several components of what we would expect from Master Chief's armor, but we can't get them to all work together, kind of like any capture the flag team I've been on in Halo multiplayer. But say you need to crouch down for extended periods of time, either to maintain stealth or perform a tactical crouch on an opponent you're running riot over. Well, you're in luck, because Lockheed Martin's Onyx exoskeleton reinforces the legs for physically demanding activities, like lifting or dragging heavy loads, walking up and down hills, or humiliating anyone who dares step to you in lockout. Sarcos Robotics is currently building a device called the Guardian Exo Alpha, which honestly sounds like something out of the Haloverse and kind of looks like it too. The device is battery-powered, full-body industrial exoskeleton designed to enable users to safely lift up to 200 pounds. Ideal for when you flipped over your Warthog during a sweet jump en route to Blood Gulch. One of the biggest real-world obstacles to functional powered exosuits is how to control them. In the world of Halo, all Spartans are equipped with a neural interface that lets them operate the armor with their minds. While you may not be able to have a heads-up display like Master Chief right now, it isn't out of the question. Much like the Mjolnir armor connects to an onboard AI, scientists are working on devices known as brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs for short, which translate neurological impulses into inputs and actions. While still an evolving science, existing brain-computer interfaces allow users to turn their thoughts into audible sentences, play Tetris telepathically, and even control previously paralyzed limbs. Who knows how long until we have Cortana's voice inside our heads too, helping us find our next objective, which in my case is the box of double stuffed Oreos in my pantry. As for that built-in shield that helps Master Chief withstand all types of attacks while you desperately try to reset the controls because the last person who used it changed them to inverted for some reason, Kathy, well, it is theoretically possible, according to a 2014 study in the Journal of Special Physics Topics. According to the study, the Earth's atmosphere is full of plasma, which is used to deflect radio signals. But if you could wall yourself off with plasma, you could theoretically deflect electromagnetic radiation from an energy weapon. You know, like a needler. Unfortunately, it's still a long ways away, but considering that the Mjolnir Mark I prototype exoskeleton wasn't completed until the year 2512, I'd say we're running ahead of schedule. Let's just hope for fewer alien invasions and intergalactic wars than in the Haloverse. Like way fewer. Unless we also develop a Banshee, because I have always wanted to pilot one of those. Pew, 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 pew. On my 6! I see him! Thanks for watching Behind the Fandom, and I'll see you next time.